Hey guys, welcome back for another story time. This is going to be 3 different stories that I experienced of the same thing. So, the first time I've ever experienced a mimic. A few years ago, when I was 15, we lived in this 2-story house, and the upstairs was pretty small compared to the downstairs. So, all of our rooms were pretty much smushed together, like we were all right next door to each other. So I remember one day that my dad was at work and my mom had to go to the grocery store, but I didn't want to go with her because I just wanted to stay home, cuddle my kitten, and watch some old cartoons. But she took my sister with her, so I was home alone. So I'm home alone. I'm laying with my kitten in my bed watching old Looney Tunes. So after a couple hours, I started getting a little agitated because my mom wasn't home yet. So I texted her and I'm like, hey, where are you? And she told me that she'll be home in about a half an hour. I was like, okay, cool. After about 15 minutes, when I last spoke to my mom, and she told me that she was going to be like 30 more minutes to get home, I started hearing commotion coming from downstairs. And automatically, I thought this was strange because I can hear when my mom's home. So I call out and I say, Mom, are you home? No response. And the commotion gets closer and closer to the steps. The dogs are absolutely losing their mind because they can see what I can't. And now I'm freaking out a little bit because automatically I thought there's an intruder inside the house, but why didn't I hear him? So now I'm absolutely losing my mind because I literally just announced to this intruder that I'm here. But then I started thinking about it. And then I started to think about it and I'm like, our dogs are not in the cage and they're protectors. We had an Australian Shepherd and a German Rottweiler. And I automatically just thought that this was sketchy because they're like not even angry barking. They're terrified barking. You know that barking where they yelp in between? That's what our dogs were doing. Now I started thinking, should I just go in full defensive mode and start barricading my room? Or should I attempt to run in my parents' room and grab a weapon? In this debate, I decided I'm going to be brave and I'm going to run right like 2 feet away to my parents' room. But as soon as I reach for the door, all of a sudden I heard a voice from downstairs that says, Claire, come here. And it was my mom. I'm literally shaking at this point. Like, I am so scared that I do not know if that is actually my mom or not because it registered that the dogs would never bark at my mom like that. So I pull my hand away from the door because I'm like, there ain't no way I'm going out there now. And I called out and I'm like, Mom, is that you? Tell me why this thing responded, yes, I was just playing with the dogs. So automatically, I instantly thought, okay, whew, thank God it's my mom. Man, I was wrong. The voice then said, can you come down here, please? And I'm like, okay, it's my mom. I'm relieved now. So I creak open my door because a part of my instincts is still unsure as to whether I should go downstairs or not. So I creak open my door to see what I can see and I don't see anything. I walk over to the top of the stairs and I yell down to my mom. I said, Mom, what do you need? And the voice responded, I need to talk to you. Quick recap, my mom is never that nice when she needs to talk to me about anything. It don't matter if it's something I did wrong or something that I did good. She always yells at me to come downstairs. She never talks in a polite voice. So that sent chills down my spine instantly, and I'm still standing there because I'm trying to figure out, Mom, why are you playing with me like this? Because that's what my parents do. They like to mess with me and scare me in all sorts of ways, and So I literally said, Mom, stop messing with me, it's not funny. And this is where things started to get really weird. The voice then said in a deeper voice, get down here. And I instantly had goosebumps all over my body. So without even hesitating, I ran straight back into my room, slammed my door shut and locked it, while also hearing footsteps following behind me up the stairs. My door doesn't really have a lock on it. It's a horrible lock. It doesn't even lock that well. It just leaves it enough, but you can still get in with enough force. So I'm like tearing up at this point because I have no idea what this thing is or who it is. I don't know. I just keep thinking for some reason my parents are playing a trick on me or something. But when the voice spoke to me in that deep tone, it did not sound like my dad, and it did not sound like my mom at all. So now I'm just sitting in front of my door, holding it shut, because I don't know what's on the other side of that door, and I'm not about to find out. Then I hear a knock on the door after a few seconds. The hair on the back of my neck stood up instantly. All of a sudden, it was this deep, like, baritone voice that said, "Let me in." My blood ran cold. So now I'm desperate to find my phone and call my mom and figure out what is going on. Where are you? Get home fast. But then I started to hear my dad's voice. And this time it said, "Sweetheart, it's me. Let me in." Now, if I know anything about my parents, they have never called me sweetheart, honey, hun, none of that. They just call me by my name, and that's that. So now I knew for a fact that this was some sort of entity because of how cold my room got. Then, right before I heard my mom's truck, this voice goes, "You will let me in eventually." Then after about 20 seconds of hearing that and it constantly banging on my door and trying to open my door, I heard my mom's truck pull in. And this thing is still banging on my door until my mom jingles her keys at the front door and opened it. Then, within an instant, it was gone. My mom called out to me and she was like, "Claire, I'm home. Come down and help me with the groceries." I didn't respond and I didn't move a muscle. I didn't even make a sound upstairs. I was dead silent. My first thought was, go away. Leave me alone. And then I started to hear heavy footsteps coming up the stairs. And if you guys have strict parents, then you know exactly how to tell footsteps. So I heard heavy footsteps coming up the steps, and then a bit of relief came over my body because I'm like, maybe that's actually my mom. She banged on my door a couple times and was like, "I thought I told you not to keep this door locked, yada yada," right? So I stood up and then she come crashing and burning into my room and she's like, "Why didn't you answer me the first time?" I tried explaining to my mom what happened because she believes in the supernatural, the paranormal, stuff like that, because she's had her own experiences growing up, which I also will talk about eventually. But she never had an experience with a mimic, or at least that she's told me about. So she instantly said, "Why are you making up these fake stories to, not respond to me or not help me out downstairs?" And I'm like, what do you mean? I almost died and thinking it was an intruder, but here it was some sort of demonic entity that was trying to kill me, scared the living crap out of the dogs, and you're over here yelling about groceries? I got my rear whooped for that one, but it was worth it.